it is scientific, and you can't just jump into any conclusion when you are handling a client or when you're having section with your client. So that's why we chose this particular model, at least to dwell more on it. So we are not that many in the class now, but we go ahead. We are 18 because I think it's about 11 pages. So let's see how far we can go. So the first thing here, we are talking about problem solving and say defining problem. A problem is very important for researchers. Can you imagine? If we say, may you not have problem, it is not the prayer of a researcher. It is not a prayer of a doctor. It's not a problem of a lawyer. I could remember a day I was going with a big brother and I saw two people fighting. And I was like, you people, you gathered there with them, watching them fighting. And the brother was working with happy to be a lawyer. Do you know what he said? He said, wait, God, leave them alone. Let them fight. If they don't fight, how will they take them to police station? If they don't get to police station, how will they need lawyer? You can imagine. So what is one man's problem is another man's prayer. What is one man's problem is another man's prayer. It's like you saying, may I not have court case. You are causing lawyers and you are causing judges. You get it? And you are saying, may we not die. May we not have cause to die. You are causing those people selling coffins. You get it? So one man's problem could be another man's prayer. And it is my prayer that the prayer of all those people, the doctors, the nurses, the lawyers will not walk over our lives. But definitely their prayer will work for some people because they will have to eat too. So let's continue. A problem is very important for researchers, social scientists, and pathologists. Problem is defined differently from different academic disciplines, such as sociology, education, psychology, social pathology, and social work. From the social work perspective, it is when we are having trouble, and due to that, we are not comfortable. It's breaking our daily routine work, and we are trying to come out but feel like that is not possible. Then it is considered a problem. As problem has a very wide scope, various extensive literatures available on this. Merriam-Webster dictionary denote that it is something that is difficult to deal with, something that is a source of trouble, worry, etc. Social worker, writer of the book of social case work, a problem-solving process, Ellen Harris Palman in 1957, creates this problem-solving model. She explained in problem-solving model that a social worker helps individual to identify a problem, and he or she creates action plan to solve the problem and provide solution. According to H.H. Palman's social work perspectives, problems are the unmet needs. According to Palman's from social work perspectives, problems are the unmet needs. So when our needs are not met, left the same, and those needs grows as problems. So here, our needs and problems have close relation. In this way, we have to understand common dimensions of problems. Sometimes a problematic situation leads us to face problems, and if problem remains same with no solution, can lead us to critical conditions and ultimately create vicious circles around us. Vicious circle, things that keep repeating. Duncan 1945 stated that problem arises when a person has specific aim but does not know how to achieve it. According to this definition, we can analyze problem as a person who has aim but does not know the ways to achieve it. A problem in common parlance refers to that barriers, interruption, problem, troubles, issues, dilemma, obstacle, complication, and so on. Every organism has problem on this earth. Unlike any animals, we are human beings. We have problems in our day-to-day life. Problem may be different in nature, that interrupt our lives and development. Problems are widely divided into three categories. That is, individual problem, group problem, and community problem. Scientific-based solution is needed for all these problems. Scientific-based means systematic and research-based. Now, what is social problem? You know, we can have problems and we can have social problem. An individual can have problem, but when it becomes social problems, it simply means something that affects the generality of the people. Something that is, you know, that is affecting the generality of the people. But we can also look at it from the objectivist point of view and from the subjectivist point of view. When we say something is subjective, that means individual has different opinions. Individual have different views to it, different, you know, interpretation to what is on ground. You know, some people might see it as problem, some might not see it as problem. That is when it becomes subjective. That is, everybody has individual opinions to it. But when it is objective, that means all of us are looking at it and seeing it as the same thing. So we say social problem is any condition or behavior that has negative consequences for a large number of people. And that is generally recognized as a condition or behavior that needs to be addressed. It's something that affects the generality of the people, and it's also considered as something that needs to be addressed. This definition has both an objective component and a subjective component to it. The objective component is this: for any condition or behavior to be considered a social problem, sorry. Okay. The definition, okay, I'm sorry. I think, okay, sorry. This, oh my God. Okay, for any condition or behavior to be considered a social problem, it must have negative consequences for large numbers of people. It must have a negative consequences. People must feel it as a problem. You get it? It must have the same, you know, people must see that it is a problem. It must have negative consequences for a large number of people. A current example is the climate change. Although the overwhelming majority of climate scientists say that climate change, that is changes in the Earth's climate due to the buildup of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, is real and serious. Fewer than 2/3 of Americans, 64%, in a 2011 poll said they think that the global warming is happening. That is from the objective point of view. Now, looking at it from the subjective point of view, this type of dispute point to the subjective component, the one we want to talk about, of the definition of social problem. There must be a perception that a condition or behavior needs to be addressed for it to be considered a social problem. Even if the whole world is dying and the policymakers are not seeing that as problem, it is not problem. You get it? Because they are the one that will take decision. They are the one that will say, okay, this is problem. I could remember when Dimeji Bankole was the Speaker of the House of Rep. You know, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has been that bad for a very long time. So many death traps. They didn't see it because they always fly, you know, going anywhere they fly. But this very day he was driving, he was in a vehicle with his driver, and there was a terrible accident that the driver died in the process. You won't believe it, the following week they started working on that road. It was because it has not happened to them, so they didn't see it as problem. So from this view, this is subjective view, they did not consider it as problem. You get it? There must be a perception that a condition or behavior needs to be addressed. For you to please mute your mic, please, I beg you. Please mute your mic. Benny. Mute your mic. Who is that, Benny?
Okay.
Class now. Thank God I've sent the materials to you. Will I continue to repeat the same thing every day? You should know that at the beginning of the class, you mute your mics. So like I was saying, looking at the subjective and objective view of what is considered as social problems. From the subjective view, like I said, there must be a perception that a condition or behavior needs to be addressed for it to be considered a social problem. This component lies at the heart of the social constructionist view of social problems. In this view, many types of negative conditions and behavior exist. Many of these are considered sufficiently negative to acquire the status of a social problem. Some do not receive this consideration and thus do not become a social problem. And some become considered a social problem only if citizens, policymakers, or other parties call attention to the condition or behavior. Even when the whole world is dying, once they are not affected, the policymakers especially, they don't see it as social problem. They don't see it as one. But the moment it begins to affect them and their family members, they begin to see it, okay, they may label it as social problem. So this is the subjective view and the objective view. I believe you understand the difference between objective and subjective view of social problem. Do you understand that? Before we continue. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We understand,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Okay.
Well understood.
Okay. The history of attention given to rape and sexual assault in the United States before and after the 1970s provide an example of this latter situation. This act of sexual violence against women have probably occurred from the beginning of humanity and certainly were very common in the United States before the 1970s, although men were sometimes arrested and prosecuted for rape and sexual assault. Sexual violence was otherwise ignored by legal policymakers and received little attention in college textbooks and the news media. And many people thought that rape and sexual assault were just something that happened. Thus, although sexual violence existed, it was not considered a social problem. When the contemporary women's movement began in the late 1970s, it soon focused on rape and sexual assault as serious crimes and as manifestations of women's inequality. Thanks to this focus, rape and sexual assault eventually entered the public consciousness. Views of these crimes began to change, and legal policymakers began to give them more attention. In short, sexual violence against women became social problem. So you can see, we may be having problem. You can see in Nigeria, they don't see poverty as social problem. I don't know, but to me, I don't think they see it as social problem. Because if they see it as social problem, nobody will be negotiating 48,000 as minimum wage at this time and season. Nobody will be negotiating 48,000 naira, 57,000 naira. For a family, let me say a family of two, husband and wife and two children. How will you go with 57,000 naira? And you can see our policymakers, they hold this subjective point of view of social problem. I don't know if you are saying it the same way. That is our view. Since they are not affected, no problem. They are not queuing at the filling station to buy fuel. Nobody is going to the house to disconnect lights. Either they are using band A or band A square. Anyhow. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yes, sir.
So that is just that. So
Yes,
we have the objectivist view and we have the subjective view. Do you understand that? So let's continue. The role of social workers in problem solving. Social workers practice in many diverse contexts, and increasingly their job titles are not social workers where you see them. When you see them, you don't see that tag on them as social workers, but that is what they are, social workers. But some people call them child protection officers. They are also probation officers. They are also managers, probation officers and managers. So you will find social workers in child welfare, mental health agencies, working with people with disabilities, in juvenile justice, crime prevention and rehabilitation, residential care, aged care, and foster care and adoption. You see them in all these areas. Generally, we talk about social work practice taking place at various and different levels. And by this, it's meant social workers work with individuals and families. Direct practice, which can be therapeutic or clinical, though this is less likely within a developmental social work model. They work with group of people, with communities, through groups of people, or advocating on behalf of sectional interest. And at the policy levels too, you see them at the policy level to change unjust policies and practices and achieve a more just and equitable distribution of resources for those whom they serve. So as a social worker, see yourself as a servant who is there to serve. Social work is a profession in 21st century's professions, according to a belief that has just emerged. It is like an ashtray container that gives whatever it is asked. Anything you want from social worker that has to do with social welfare, that has to do with care of people, whatever you have, social worker is there. And it is like a knapsack on the arm or shoulders. It gives whatever is hard. Despite many other professions, social work is a profession that is committed to solve various individuals, groups, and community problems, and brings positive changes in their lives. My good God, who is this person disturbing us, for Christ's sake? Oh my God. Okay, let's continue. Where am I now? Despite many other professions, social work is a profession that is committed to solve various individuals, groups, and community problems, and bring positive changes in their lives. It is a profession that deals with both individuals and society's problems. Professional social work is focused on problem solving and change. Professional social workers always concerned with the solution and prevention of social problems, such as poverty, unemployment, alcoholism, and drug addiction, and urban slum, etc. They utilize theories of human behavior and social systems and intervene at the point where people interact with their environment. They work as change agents in society and lives of the individuals and families and communities they serve. Now, I want to look at what we call holistic approach to problem solving. During the two classes we had, the last two classes we had, I made mention of micro level, meso level, and I also talk about the macro level. If you can remember that, it is in the material I gave to us. So I want to look at it now, which is called holistic approach to problem solving. You start from the micro, you move to the meso, then you move to the macro. So looking at the micro level practice, if you are a social worker, you are working at this micro level, working with individuals, families, and small groups as a cleansed system is often called micro level practice. Cleansed system. Put that at the back of your mind. What is cleansed system? What do you mean by cleansed system? So I said working with individuals, families, and small groups as the cleansed system is often called micro-level practice. At this level, social workers engage directly with the client and may be involved in counseling or therapy, referral, or direct assistance. For example, in the provision of material aid, the helping process is a partnership which involves the social worker in collaborating or working together with the client. You cannot achieve anything outside your client. It's like a patient that, went to the hospital to see the doctor. The doctor cannot know anything about the patient. If the patient is not telling the doctor everything, the doctor will not know what to do. So you can only work in collaboration or in togetherness with your clients if you want to achieve success in your section with your clients. This focus is on the client's strengths, abilities, and potential competencies. By the time you are having sections with your clients, you should know their strengths, you should know their abilities, you should know their potential competencies as a social worker, even at this micro level. Still at the macro level of practice, a group work approach can be used in helping individuals with common problems to meet their needs. What do we mean by that? Maybe you are still at the individual level, but you see people who have similar problems. You can bring them together. By the time they begin to share experiences among themselves, one of them, all of them will learn from one another. This will also help, to bring great success in your section with them. So even as we are talking about micro level, you can still bring in what we call group work approach, like 2, like 3, like 4, like 5, come together, they share their experiences. This will also help in solving their problems. The social worker brings together a group of people who may be able to influence one another through sharing their experiences and knowledge, and who can provide mutual support and encouragement. The group is both the context and means through which its members support and modify their attitudes, interpersonal relationships, and abilities to cope effectively and with their environment. Because whatever anybody is going through is with their environment. Your place of work is your environment. Your family is your environment. Your community is your environment. So if your family is not affecting you, your place of work might be affecting you, your community might be affecting you. So we see how we can help them to cope perfectly well with the environment. The focus of the group may be on helping members with their individual problems and on enhancing the level of social functioning of its members. For example, helping teenage drug users to change their lifestyle. You can bring somebody who was in that shoe before, and it comes together. They open to themselves, and by the time they share the experiences, there's what we call like this group now, we call it SHG, self-help group. And in every self-help group, there's what we call the rookies and the veterans. In self-help group, there's what we call the rookies and there's what we call the veterans. The veterans are those people who have been in that problem long time ago, and they've developed means, coping mechanisms. And the rookies are those who are just entering into that problem. They open to themselves, because there are different ways of treating this issue. You can bring in professionals, then you can also use the people themselves to address themselves. They open to themselves more than they open to a professional. A professional who just went to school, who study. For example, I went to school, I have my master's in social work, master's in sociology, I have DSW in social work. That doesn't mean I have the experience of people those living on the street, those experiencing homelessness. I can only talk to them based on what I've acquired as knowledge. You get it? But the empathy will not be there, like somebody who has been there. So if you bring people who have the same, the same problems together, and like I said, we have the rookies, we have the veterans. The veterans will tell them, this is not the end of life. We've been there, and this is where we've been coping. They will open to them, they will give them coping mechanism, and that is how that little group, despite the fact that we are talking about micro level, approach, yes, they can open to themselves, and that will achieve great success. Other group may have an educational goal. For example, where parents join a social work group in order to improve their parenting skills. They may come together and say, okay, how can we help in parenting? Maybe somebody who missed it and now is achieving greater goal, You brought in that person. I was in your shoe before. I thought I could pick, do whatever my husband is doing. If he's going to work, we left our children to that. And before you know it, we realize our mistake and we develop a coping, how to readjust our lives. So if you bring somebody like that, they will learn and they will listen because the person will be speaking from experience. When the group work method is used at this micro level, the group becomes the medium through which an individual grows and changes. Now, please, I want to ask, do we understand the issue of micro-level approach? Response, please. Feedback, please. Do we understand micro-level approach?
Yes, sir. We do. We understand.
The only man they talk, we are the women in the class. Please, don't cheat them.
We understand, sir. We understand, sir. Yes,
they muted their... They muted.
We understand, sir.
Their background.
The women are here, sir.
That's what I'm speaking for you. That's what I'm speaking for you. That's what
We
I'm
have been
speaking for you.
speaking for them, sir.
I'm speaking for them. Hey,
Understand,
you are
sir.
biased,
Thank you,
so
sir.
don't say that one. Okay, let's continue. The next one is meso or middle level practice. The first one is micro. The second one now is meso or mid-level practice or approach. This level of practice focuses on formal groups and complex organization. For example, maybe in an organization, in a place of work, which is a complex and formal where they have structure, the structure is there from the CEO, blah, 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 to the rank and file in the organization. This might be associations, clubs, self-help group, like I said other than SHG, self-help groups, that is formal self-help groups, social work agencies, schools, prisons, hospitals, businesses, or industries. Complete organizations include public and private bodies. Generally, their purpose oh my God, what is this? Jesus help me. Okay, I thought I've missed you, so sorry. We are few in class today, just 37 people. What is happening? Where are the rest? We are very few, 37.
Maybe because of the rain, weather.
No, maybe there's because of wedding ceremony today, many parties. So
they will join us very soon, sir.
Unzubadiro. Let's continue.
They will join us.
This level, okay.
Sir.
So the meso level said this could be in all these complex organization, formal groups, and the social worker could be employed or could be asked, not employed now, could be invited to be a consultant in such place or places. Complex organizations include public and private bodies. Generally, their purpose is to coordinate people and resources in order to provide products and or services. In working at this level, at this meso level, the focus of change is the group rather than an individual members. At the macro level, at the micro level, do we remember that? But at the meso level, it is the group or the organization we want to change. Although there's nothing called organization than the people in it. But their collective effort or their collective, work there make them an organization. So here the focus is changing the organization or changing the group itself. The focus of meso or mid-level practice is change. The focus of change is the group or organization itself rather than individual members. Do we understand that? The social workers may act as a facilitator who assists the functioning of the group organization. This may involve creating or strengthening links among the members of the organization, facilitating group discussion, group decision making, and evaluating programs. In general, social workers may provide resources such as consulting services, information, education, staff development, service planning, and evaluation. We can have people like industrial social workers in these categories. The next one is macro level practice. Are we still together? Macro level.
Yes, sir.
Okay, somebody raise
Yes,
up his hand
sir.
here.
We are together, sir.
Melvin, you raise
We
up
are
Yes,
your
sir.
hand.
together, sir.
Melvin.
I wanted to ask.
Yes, sir, we are
I wanted to
together.
ask a question.
Okay, I'm hearing.
Yes, sir. I did.
You said you wanted to ask a question now.
Actually, sir, are you saying that? Yes, sir, I did. I wanted to.
Okay,
Now,
okay.
are we saying that the role of social work is beginning to replace the HR department? Is that what we are saying?
Sir, if you are going into HR,
I
the
said,
work of I got your point. The work of HR is limited when compared with the social worker. And that is the point we need to get to now, that social workers work in every organization. For example, I'm an industrial social worker. My area of specialization is industrial social work. Social worker goes beyond the four walls of the organization. Social workers get to involve himself even in the family of the person, of the employee. Because what is causing problem might not be the work environment. What is causing problem might be the family, might be the environment, might be the community where the person is coming from. And social worker will go to that level of seeing that that problem is solved. Because if there is problem that is not resolved, that can cause to loss of livelihood in the place of work. The HR is only limited to the four walls of the organization. A social worker standing as a neutral person, because he points the attention of the employer to their fault. He also points the attention of the employee to their fault. So it's not taking sides. As a social worker, you are there for the well-being, for the welfare of both the employer and the employee, and all the employer and employee at all levels, even including the rank and files. That is why we are advocating for social workers in virtually all organizations. It is not the work of HR, human resource you are talking about. Their work is limited. You can place them side by side. Thank God you are in this class. Place them side by side. You will see that the work of social worker is deeper. Is deeper and more is more than the work of HR. I did industrial sociology. At least I have my first degree BSc MSc sociology from UI, and my area of specialization is industrial sociology. And I'm also doing industrial social work. So you can see I have the two. I have industrial social work, I have industrial sociology. Then I have MSW, as I have DSW, which is Doctor of Social Work. So I can tell you the two sides. Although if you look at their responsibilities or the role they play, look alike, but social work go deeper than human resources or human resource department. I don't know if I've been able to say something.
yes, sir.
Mr.
Thank you
Melvin,
very much. Thank you very much,
you're
sir.
welcome. Thank you. Yeah. So, like I said, talking about macro level practice. The macro level refers to communities. You can see is getting bigger and bigger. We move from individual to formal organization. At least that is bigger, an organization having many people working in it, people of 20, 50, 100, 120, 200, that is an organization. But you can't compare the number of people in an organization to the number of people in the community or the societies. So when you are talking about communities or societies, then you have moved to the macro level practice or macro level approach. The macro level refers to the communities and societies, and macro level practices are aimed at social development and change in order to improve people's lives. Practice at this level reflects social work's value. And what is that value? values of social justice and its tradition of what? Social reform. The value of social work is what? Social justice. And its tradition is to bring about a reform. You can't say as it was in the beginning, so it's now forever be. No, there must be a reform if there is need for a reform. While the philanthropies of the 19th century were concerned with improving and uplifting the lives of the poverty-stricken and powerless in the society, today social workers emphasize working in partnership with the oppressed. You work in partnership with them. The philanthropists will just come and give. But today's social workers, we work in partnership with them so that we can understand what we are doing, so that we can work, to help others in future. As we are helping, as we are trying to provide solution to their problem, we are as well training them to become solution, providers to others. So today, social workers, we work in partnership with those who are being oppressed or disenfranchised. Social workers might be involved in such issues as planning the delivery of social services or helping to resolve intergroup conflicts in a specific community. They might also be involved in international concerns such as human rights, world poverty, and the protection of the environment. The goal of all these activities is the promotion of social justice through community and societal change. Often, social workers need to work their way through the various levels of intervention, from the micro to the macro levels, in addressing the concerns of individuals and groups in society. Remember that at whichever level they work, whether with individuals, groups, and communities, problems are defined in relation to the interaction and transaction between people and their environment. Like I told you before, environment could be your family, environment could be your place of work, environment could be your community. So whatever problem any client is facing is defined in relation to their interaction and transaction between people and their environment, drawing on their holistic approach and awareness of both persons and environment. Social workers may help clients find solutions to their problems from within themselves. The problem could be the person himself or herself need to change, need to do some things that is within themselves, or from the environment. Maybe something needs to be done in the environment in which they have found themselves. So the solution could be either within them or outside them. That is the point we are making here. The solution to their problem could be either within them or outside them. We want to look at an example here, and it can also be both within and in their environment. So let's look at this example. A woman who has been battered and seek a social work's help may initially need help on an individual level in trying to assess our existing situation and plan our future. This may involve social worker in working with her to help her develop a sense of self-esteem, as well as working with her family or other support networks. In addition, the social worker may organize group for battered women. I can call it Association of Battered Women, to come together and discuss their common problems. Through this group experience, individuals could gain strength and help one another to deal with their particular situations. They will open up to themselves, and it's like we only believe that it is only women that are being battered. We also have Association of Battered Men. Hope you know that. Only that the men will not come outside. Am I saying the truth?
You are correct, sir.
So I'm correct. So that is just it. We have Association of Battered Men too. Only that they will not come out.
Yes, Ego will not allow them to say it out.
Until they will kill them, I'm sorry. Until they will die in it. I don't hear. No, Allah.
It's Ego and pride.
I don't hear. So through this group experience, individual could gain strength and help one another to deal with their particular situations. They may decide to form a mutual aid or self-help group. And oh my God, who be these people now? Okay. They may decide to form a mutual aid or self-help group and could consult with a social worker regarding the focus of an educational program. Some group could campaign for women's shelter to be established to protect women and give them a refuge. A social worker may at the same time also be involved in empowering women generally to campaign for changes in the law. Now, who can tell me now, what level are we now? When I say a social worker may at the same time also be involved in empowering women generally to campaign for changes in the law, which level are we now? Are we at meso? Are we at micro? Are we at macro?
Macro.
Macro.
Marco.
It's not macro. Who say macro there? It's not macro.
Macro.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. So you can see we are now at the macro level because it's talking about changes in law, and that is at macro level. So here, the social worker may at the same time also be involved in empowering women generally to campaign for changes in the law, aim at protecting them from attack by their husbands and partners. In the same example given here, the social worker uses a holistic approach to the problem. What do you mean by holistic approach? Holistic approach has to do with beginning with the micro, move to meso, and get to what? Move to macro. You start the problem at individual level, you move to self-help groups, formal self-help groups, you gather them together. No, they are already self-help groups. You engage them, you talk to them, then you now move to the policy making level. So that is what we call holistic approach to problem resolution. You started at individual and you ended it at the policy level. It can also be seen as integrated approach. You bring everything together. You start from the how will I put it now? If you look at it, you look at inverted funnel approach. You know what is called funnel? Hello?
Hi.
When you say inverted funnel, it simply means you turn the funnel upside down. That is inverted. That means you are starting from the tip. You know the way it will look like when you turn the funnel upside down.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if you are starting from the micro level to the macro level, that means you are using an inverted funnel approach. Do you get it? From the small level to you get the way a funnel will look like. And if you are using funnel approach, that means you are starting from the macro level to the micro level. Do you understand what I mean by inverted funnel and funnel approach? Do you get that?
Yes, sir.
So we are that is holistic approach to problem solving. Now let's go back to that example that I gave before. A woman who has been abused seeks social work help. We start from the micro level. Micro level is individual. Then we can also bring in the families. Then we can also bring in small groups like Association of Battered Women and Battered Men. You know, we are still at what? At this micro level. Do we get it? At the individual level, a battered woman seeking and receiving help for herself. Then we move to the family levels. Family counseling could include the woman who is being abused, her spouse, her children, and any other member of the household or extended family. We are still at the micro level. We can even move to the association of battered women using groups to help individuals, that is, abuse the women, abuse men who abuse their wives, children who live in situations of domestic violence. This is still talking about small group of people. You get it? All this is at the micro level. Then from there, we move to the meso level or mid level. And this has to do with consulting with a self-help group established by battered women. This one now, they have established a group established by battered women. It is not that you are not picking them to come together. Now they have a group of established by battered women to develop a program which will meet their needs. So we have moved from, so this is a formal group. Remember, we use an organization like a place of work, but this one too is also an organization of an established organization of battered women, battered men, to develop program which will meet their needs. We understand this. So from there, we move to the macro level, where we can talk about policy, putting policy in place. So when we talk about macro level, we talk about society. And what do we do with society? Changing policies and laws, e.g., laws which affect women. Move to the community, engaging people with common problems as a collective in struggling for changes in the law and for the allocation of new resources or environmental support, e.g., women's shelter. So do we now understand this holistic approach to problem resolution? Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Dalu. So when social workers intervene at all these levels, I repeat, we say that they are using an integrated approach. I hope you all have this material. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
We
sir.
have.
No,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Who is saying no here? Are you not on the platform? Who is
I
saying no?
I wanted to ask for the social theory lecture notes. That is the one I
Want to
don't
ask
have.
me? But do you have this one we are using now? Do you have this one?
No, sir.
You can resend it, sir.
It's
No,
on
you
the
people should
platform
send. You
now.
people should you repost it by yourself. It's on your platform.
It is on our platform, sir.
So you can repost
Please.
it, copy and post on that platform for her.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, sir.
Okay. So when social workers intervene at all these levels, we say that they are using an integrated approach. Now, I told you the other time that you have at the back of your mind what I call cleanse system. The term cleanse system is used to show that the client may be an individual, a family, a group, or a community. So when you say client system, it simply means that your client could be an individual, could be a group, could be a family. So when you hear client system, you know what we are talking about. The problem-solving process is used at all client levels. Oh my God. The problem-solving, who be this person now? Unisa, next time I will remove you completely.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Are social workers trying to give solutions on the basis of scientific theory? Are we here? Yes, that's where we are. On the basis of scientific theories and methods, by using social work methods, principles, theories, skills, techniques, tools, and through that, help to the individual, group, and community to improve their lives and lead them good and satisfied life. Thus, we will have to make statements of problems and try to get solutions accordingly. So we need to look at this as a social worker or as social workers. We need to have understanding of this before we start talking about problem solving. We need to know what is a problem, how to recognize problem, why problems arise, what are the root causes of problems, how to quit from these problems, how this problem impacted on lives of the people. Are people trying to come out of these problems? Are people trying to come out of these problems? How to get solutions for these problems? What are the resources needed to solve these problems? So we need to have this at the point of our minds, because now you're a problem solver, so to speak. You are the one that wants to provide solution to the problem of the people. And you are not the one that will do it. Rather, the client himself or herself is going to see how the problem will be solved, and he or she must agree with you. Both of you have to come together to know which way to go in solving problems. So the next subtopic there says, how do social workers actually go about helping people? The helping process used in social work is guided by problem-solving model. That's why we are picking on this particular model. The helping process used in social work is guided by problem-solving model. This model provides a systematic, sequential, or step-by-step framework to guide the helping process. The first step in problem-solving model involves identifying and defining the problem, a troubling situation or event. In order to develop an understanding of it, often the troubling situation which prompts the client to come for help, referred to as the precipitating problems or events, is not the real problem. For example, a woman that was battered. The battering is not the problem. I hope you agree with me. The battering is not the problem. There is something underlining the battering. The problem was what led to the battering of the woman. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Often the troubling situation which prompts the client to come for help, referred to as the precipitating problem or event, is not the real problem. And the real or underlying problem situation is only revealed as the situation is explored more fully. While exploring the problem with the client, the social worker needs to develop a warm, accepting relationship within which potential solutions are considered. Possible outcomes and the anticipated consequences are weighed against each other, and a decision is made as to the best course of action to follow in order to reach a solution of the problem. It empowers them to solve their own problems. Social workers should not impose their values or solutions on clients. Rather, the client should involve in the whole process Since the more the client is involved in solving his or her problems, the more likely it is that the solution arrived at will be a workable solution. By following this approach, the social worker is not only helping the client to resolve the particular problem which has been presented, but is also teaching the client a model of problem solving in the future. So don't impose your values on your client. The role of the social worker is to recognize that individuals have strengths and competencies or abilities which enable them to direct or take control of their own lives. The role of the social worker is to recognize that individuals have the strengths and competencies or abilities which enable them to direct or take control of their own lives. The social worker's aim is to help people become responsible, and this aim is achieved. Not that you do the work for them, but make them responsible, and this aim is achieved not by exercising power or by being manipulative, but by gently yet firmly discussing expectations and goals. Two words were used there. By gently yet firmly discussing. Get it? Maintain your stand. You must be firm. But by gently yet firmly discussing expectations and goals. The aim is to enable clients to develop their potential competencies so that as individuals, they are able to interact positively with their environment. The environment might be their families, might be their husband. It is important that rather than adopting an attitude of working what is best for the client, the social worker focuses on assisting the client of knowing what is best. The social worker focuses on assisting the client to participate in developing alternatives, to make decisions from alternatives, and to implement these decisions. By using a problem-solving approach to helping, social workers aim to ensure that clients are respected and given maximum freedom and autonomy in directing the helping process. Do we understand what we mean by problem-solving model? Before we now move to the model itself, there are 6 steps, and what we are going to be talking about now are the 6 steps of problem-solving models. What I've just done is the summary of the 6 steps. Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, we are looking at the problem-solving model. The first step there is identify, define, and assess the problem. Identify, define, and assess the problem. In this first step of the problem-solving process, the social worker enables clients to tell their story. You are not all-knowing. Remember, we have said in this class that listening is a skill. You have to develop listening skills. Don't jump, but give rapt attention to your client. Just interject once in a while. You mean this? That we just tell him or her that you are following. In this first step of problem-solving process, The social worker enables clients to tell their story. This involves helping clients to describe their problems in terms of their current experiences, feelings, and thoughts. It helps to clarify all aspects of the problem situation, including who else is involved and which aspects of the social environment are important. Which of the environment are we talking about? Is it the family? Is it the place of work? Is it the environment? Is it the community where they are living? So that will tell us which aspects of the social environment are important. It is also important at this stage to be clear about who specifically is involved in any particular aspect of the problem situation. That is, who owns the problem. Both the person and the broader social context of the problem must be considered, and the problem should be defined in terms of the interaction between the person and the social environment. The focus of the problem identification should be the client system strengths and competencies, and the social worker and the client need to arrive at a mutually agreed upon definition of the problem. The social worker needs to use skills of attentive listening. You know, I said it. Skills of attentive listening, clarification, and reflection of feelings to help the client develop a clear definition or understanding of his or her situation. The following is an example of an interaction between a social worker and a client. Let us call her Susanna, the name of the client, as they work towards identifying and defining the client's problem. Now, let's see. Susanna bursts into tears as she tells the worker that her husband has left her and she has no money to buy food for her children. The social worker responds by saying, "You are feeling heartbroken and lost because your husband has left you and you don't know who to turn to for help." This kind of response shows the client that the social worker is trying to understand the problem situation from the client's point of view. The social worker's ability to perceive and communicate accurately and with sensitivity the feelings of the client and the meaning of those feelings is termed accurate empathy. Together with warmth, acceptance, liking, commitment, and unconditional regard, and genuineness, that is openness, spontaneity, and sincerity. These are the skills necessary for developing helping relationship. You just have to have it. You need to get them. If you don't have them, learn them. You have to learn. If you want to be in that helping, relationship with your clients. Successful relationship building helps to establish mutual trust and confidence and an environment that is conducive to change. It is important that the client and the social worker work together to understand the nature of the problem and how best to reduce its impact. This aspect of the helping process is often referred to as assessment. It's referred to as assessment. It consists of one, an appraisal of the situation. B, an evaluation of the client's ability to deal with the situation. And C, a definition of the problem. Now, that talks about the first aspect of the problem-solving model. We have defined the problem, we have accepted the definition of the problem. Now we move to the next one, which is consider possible solutions. Solutions. You are going to, with the client, you are going to look at different possible solutions. As the social workers and client continue to explore the problem, and as the understanding of the problem deepens, possible solutions to the problem become apparent. The client and the social worker try to generate as many solutions to the problem as possible. The aim of this part of the problem-solving process is to generate a whole range of possibilities. Some of the suggestions may conflict with the values held by the client, the worker, or the organization which the worker represents. It may conflict with the values of both of them. However, it is important at this stage that neither the social worker nor the client censor any of the solutions which come to mind. Let's just be having them. These are the solutions. What about this? What about this? What about this? After we have gotten arrays of solutions, then we now come to third stage, which is choose an alternative. We have seen many, maybe we have, considered, what about this? What about this? We have about, a score of them there. Now we move to the third stage, which is choose an alternative. The social worker and the client discuss each of the alternatives generated in stage 2. They discuss particularly the advantages and the disadvantages of each possibility, and then choose the alternative that the client prefers, not the one the social worker prefers. So choose the alternative that the client prefers, that is the solution most suited to the needs, abilities, and values of the client system. Remember, in an actual sense, the client has to decide for herself or himself. Now we have chosen an alternative. Before we proceed to the remaining 3 stages, do we have any question from the first 3 we have explained? Anybody? Question from the first 3? Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir.
I said, any question from the first? Okay. Ike, Ama, you raise up your hand. Ike, Ama, you raise up your hand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, in a situation whereby the client has cognitive impairments, how can the client be the one to decide the method used or to be used in treating him or her?
We are not talking about treatment here. If it is treatment that is medical, here we are talking about social problem. Social problem, we are talking about problems. We are not talking about anything that has to do with impairment. That is medical. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Cognitive impairment, talking about psychological issues.
Like?
I mean, like the person cannot, maybe he has somebody like has schizophrenia, or and he cannot reason well. It has to do with reasoning. The person does not reason well, and that person cannot make informed decisions.
Then in the first place, I don't think it will be the one that will come to you. Do you think that person that couldn't reason well was the one that came to you and explained the problem to you as a social worker? Because in the first place, he might not be able to even coordinate himself, not to even tell you what has happened to him or her. Except the person is coming with a family, a relative that can then help in putting across what the problem is. Because somebody who could not reason well, we definitely have to depend maybe on a carer who is assisting the person. So with that, they can bring the situation to you. Somebody who cannot reason well might not even be able to explain what the problem is to you in the first place. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Hello?
I'm with you, sir.
So if the person cannot, has cognitive issue, cannot even comprehend himself or put himself together, I believe somebody must have led the person to you, or he must have come with somebody to your office, and the person will be the spokesperson, speaking for him or her. Because here we are talking about somebody who can, you can reason together, you dialogue. At this point, talking about C-step model might not be the solution to the person coming to you, because the person cannot even reason with you in the first place. So, okay, let's go to the fourth one, which is identify a solution and develop a plan of action. Now we've chosen an alternative, then we have to develop a plan of action, because you don't have eternity to solve this problem. So you must set a goal for your client, and your client must, within this period and this period, you just have to do this. Then we see how we see the workability of the alternative you have chosen. That doesn't mean the alternative you have chosen will be the best. You may still have to come back and assess why that one, if it doesn't work, if it fails, you may still have to come back and see. So let's continue. Don't let me just jump. So we talk about identify a solution and develop a plan of action. This is the stage of problem-solving process at which the social worker and the client set goals to enable the client to work towards a solution of the problem. Goals established: who will do what, by when, and how the specific task will be accomplished. The proposed solution may be directed at individual stage, that is micro-level intervention, organizational or group stage or change, maybe meso intervention, and or community or social change, which is macro intervention. It all depends on the problem you are handling. If the problem has to do with an individual, it might be a macro, it might be an individual change, it might be an organizational change. Remember, we said at the meso level, the change, the focus of change is on the organization rather than individual. And it might be at the community social change or community or social change. My God, who is this person? The plan of action may draw on the resources of the former social welfare system, meaning that even the plan of action you are going to employ might need you to refer your client to a former social welfare system and the client's own social network. Maybe your client's social network, the people around him, his community, or you may have to leverage on the former social welfare system, including the immediate and extended family. That is the client's network. That's the client's own social network and extended family, neighbors or other community members, teachers, religious leaders, and friends. In considering solutions, it is also important that cultural factors and values be considered. You must also put that in consideration too. The cultural factor and the values need to be considered too. The social worker needs to be sensitive to and take into account the client traditions and cultural practice. Don't do anything that will conflict with their beliefs. You get it? So as part of action plan, We need to consider that as social worker. Then the next one is stage 5. Now we have identified, we have taken. Now the next stage is implement the plan of action. You have told your client, these are the things you are going to do, blah, 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 blah. Now, implementation. Because if the plan is not implemented, no solution to the problem. That means your client must be ready to implement the plan of action you have arrived at in order for you to have results. So implement the plan of action. The plan which has been agreed upon is implemented. It will involve change in terms of the individual and or the environment. During this phase, activities need to be monitored regularly, results assessed, and if necessary, modifications made. The involvement of the social worker and the client in this stage of the process consists of the social worker providing regular feedback, support, and an honest assessment of the progress of the problem-solving efforts. The social worker works at enabling the client to use available resources, supporting the client's efforts at improved social functioning. The social worker may also work on behalf of the client to coordinate services, plan and develop programs, negotiate change in the environment, and advocate or lobby for social change if necessary. So after this stage, which is stage 5, the implementation of the plan of the actions, then we now go to stage 6, which is the final stage. Stage 6, which is evaluate the process and the outcome. Now your client has done everything. You have, monitored, you have taken, the progress report, and now we want to evaluate the process and the outcome. It is crucial to evaluate both the process and the outcome of the problem solving which has taken place. Social workers have to be accountable for what they do, and it is obviously important to assess whether the outcome has been helpful. That is, whether the problem-solving process has helped to resolve or change the client's problem situation. However, even if the outcome goals were not achieved, it is important to evaluate why the goals were not accomplished and how to avoid similar mistakes in the future. This evaluation of problem-solving process helps the social worker to assess the experience from the client's perspective and occurs continuously throughout the process. So even if it is not successful, it helps the social worker to know why it has not, why it was not successful, to see what actually went wrong, the mistake or the omission. It will help you as a social worker to guide against such pitfall in future. And that is experience. If you have such case in future, you will avoid such pitfall, you avoid such, mistakes in future. Maybe it is not even on your part, maybe on the part of the client. At least you will know what to guide against in future when you are handling such case. So don't say, you have failed, because you may start all over again. It is a cycle. It is a circular event. It start from defining the problem, evaluating the problem, start again from defining the problem. Because for it not to have worked, that means another problem has surfaced. Then you can, continue like that until you finally find a solution to the problem. Now we have a task here. Think about the holistic, integrated approach of social work and its method of problem solving. Oh my God.
Wow.
When I told you that people attend parties today, you didn't believe me. When I told you that in parties, you didn't believe me. I told you that in parties, all of them. Frank, you raise up your hand. Mr. Frank. Mr. Frank.
That hand had been up since.
Okay, Zubadiro, no wahala. Let's continue, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. I don't want to interrupt you. I've been speaking since.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Frank. Yeah.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Yeah.
Good afternoon.
I don't want to interrupt you. I don't want to interrupt the class, so I just left it on. So my question is, I believe social work as a profession has what they call code of ethics that holds it and hold the profession. Yes.
Yeah.
Now we talk about the models and the processes of intervention and all of that. We now talk about, I'm looking at the area where we talk about the model that clients want to like adopt, because social work, we work with the clients. We don't make decision for the clients. We work with them, and whatever decision they make or they take or they choose, that is what the worker will adopt as it is. My question is now, what if the model or the system they choose to, or the change system or model that they adopt or they want to choose clashes with the code of ethics of the profession, or better still, let me say the code of ethics of the agency that the social worker is working under? Would that cause a problem?
I think that was mentioned, that it may conflict with the values of the client or the value of the organization, which let me just look for it. We mentioned it, I think it is in is it the third stage, or okay, let me go to it. I think it is third stage. Yeah, go to the third stage, choose an alternative. If you go there, it said the social worker and the client discuss each of the alternative generated in stage 2. They discuss particularly the advantages and the disadvantages of each possibility, and then choose the alternative that the client prefer. That is the solution most suited to the needs, abilities, and values of the client system. Remember, in an actual case, the client, okay, not this one, I'm coming. There's a place you talk about, it could conflict with the values of the client, or the value of the okay, it is number 2. Consider possible solution. As the social worker and the client continue to explore the problem, and as the understanding of the problem deepens, possible solutions of the problem become apparent. The client and the social worker try to generate as many solutions as to the problem as possible. The aim of this part of the problem-solving process is to generate a whole range of possibilities. Some of the suggestions may conflict with the values held by the client and the worker, or the organization which the worker represents. However, it is important at this stage that neither the social worker nor the client censor any of the solution which comes to mind. We have this in mind already, and we are going to tell them the possible outcome. If that's why we need to tell them the disadvantages and the advantages, that that we come with whatever options the person is going to take. Because you representing an organization or agency, you have your values, and this person also have his values, and you cannot go against the value, of the agency who has already sent you to to handle this particular case. You get it? So we have already put that in mind as social workers, and we must not work against the values or the values of the agencies that we represent. So we talk about it too. And also, like we said, we should be mindful of the culture even of our clients when we are arriving at a particular solution, to the problem. because their religion, their values, their cultural background is also important, should not be taken for granted. So all these need to be taken into consideration when we are implementing this problem-solving model. I don't know if I've been able to address that, Mr. Frank. Okay, we continue. So we are looking at this task, just a task. You can try it. As I think about the holistic, integrated approach of social work and its method of problem solving, and apply this to the problem of street children. How will you define the problem of street children? What possible solution could be to this problem? How will you offer individual service to street children? What type of groups could you run? What kind of services or program do they need? How should private organizations and the local authorities respond to this problem? If you look at this problem, if you look at this work here, you are asked to use holistic approach and integrated approach, meaning that use both micro, meso, and macro to attend to this problem. I leave it to it. It's a task. It's a task. What should be done nationally in terms of appropriate government policy to deal with this problem of street children? How will you evaluate your work with the street children? You can try it. I will have given it to us, as an assignment, but we have our presentation already. But you can just, on your own, attend to it, use the holistic approach, integrated approach of social work and the method of problem solving. We are going to use the micro, the meso, and the macro problem solving approach. Conclusion: social work has very strong base because it is born and brought up in the society only. Interventional practices in social work are very important. That is macro, meso, and macro practice. With these methods, social workers intervene at big, medium, and small levels. They use counseling, research, and teaching, and make policy, administration, and supervision. Today, social work professionals assist individuals, families, groups, and communities, organizations, and societies in wide. They are helping people overcoming their socio-economic, political, emotional, and psychological problems in nature. And social work has a wide scope. Where there is problem, there is need of social work intervention. Thank you very much. I don't know if anybody has any question. If not, we'll meet during our seminar presentation, which is, I think, is on the 18th or on the 8th of this month, of next month rather. If not, we meet. I think, who are the people? Some people are working on drug abuse. I think that's group 10. Am I correct? Any member of group 10 here in the class?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so we meet on that day. We shall be looking at our work very well. Okay. And again, I hope you have been told that you need to do your work so we can publish it in our journal.
You mean our seminar?
Yeah, now that seminar, it must be publishable. I also have journal. We have a professional journal. I think we are on volume 10 now. And anyone that passed that, we publish it. You have not been told about that.
None of us have seen the journal.
No.
Journals. No journal has been published.
Who told you that no journal has been published?
It is a question, sir. Sorry. I'm asking.
I'm the secretary to the editorial board of ISO Journal. So I'm talking to you. Talk another one.
I'm just asking that we will not lay hand on any of the journals. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we are not saying you should use journal. What we are saying is that what you are doing, the seminar you are giving, what you are presenting, make it publishable. That's why it will be reviewed, correction will be made, and anyone that meets the condition will pass to the editorial board. Such will be published. You pay a token as a group, and it will be published in your name and in the name of your reviewers. That's the point I'm making. And that counts for you as a publication, especially if you're in academics.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. We are working on it, sir.
So that's the point I'm making. We have ISO Professional Journal, C-ISO Professional Journal, and we release that at our international conference every year. So if you can finish this on time during the international conference that is coming up in Osun this year in November, between 3rd and 6th of November, the same journal will be launched, and at least you can see a copy. I don't know how much they sell a copy there, but at least you will see it for those of us that we have our work in it.
I think that is the time for the induction, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that what?
That is the time for the induction, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think that is November 6th to 3rd to 6th of November in Osun State. Osun State is hosting this year annual conference, international conference. The last one was in Uyo last year.
Okay, sir. Noted.
So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I wish you all the best in your seminar presentation and in your exam. Thank you so much.
Sorry, sir. Before you go, I have a question, just briefly.
Okay, I'm hearing you, sir.
So, in a situation whereby I'm talking about the macro now, where you actually micro, yes.
Individual.
Now. Yes. When you are now gathering some people, for instance, you gather some junkies. When you are talking about someone that is into drugs, and they now maybe those ex-junkies are now grown up, they are elderly, and they want to give their own former experiences, and they want to try to talk to. It's now saying that, okay, for instance, you people are grown.
Hello, sir.
Hello,
sir. Okay, we have the veterans and we have the rookies.
Okay.
The veterans and the rookies. So the older ones who have been mates, who have developed a coping mechanism, they are the ones we refer to as the veterans.
Yes.
And those who are just coming into it, who are just victims, new members, are the ones we refer to as rookies. So now go ahead with your question.
So when the veterans now try to explain what their experiences and what they are gone through, their pains and stuff like that, now the new ones now try to tell them that after all, you enjoy your period, though they have some shortcomings, some pains that they're going through, that when they get to their own level too, that their age, that are going to change. So
no, you are not getting my point. No, you are not getting my point, sir. The point here is that not that they are telling the younger ones not to come to where they are. The younger ones are already victims. That's why we refer to them as rookies. That's why we refer to them as rookies.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
They are already victims.
Yes.
For example, somebody who has been living with HIV/AIDS for 10 years and is coping with it. And somebody else who has just been declared HIV/AIDS patients now. Both of them are HIV positive. But the new ones, the new victims, will listen to those who have been in it because they go around with stigma. You know, once they see themselves in that what we call SHG, self-help group, you know, they encourage one another. They give hope to one another. that this is not the end of life. If you can continue, if you can follow these laid down, principles, it is not the end of your life. You can live a normal life. For example, if I hope you know a man called Magic Johnson, a basketballer in US.
Yes, sir.
Magic Johnson, yeah.
Yes,
do you
sir.
know how many years this man has been diagnosed of these HIV/AIDS? But if you look at him, he looks so neat. He's still making his millions in dollars. So if somebody like that is telling a new person that he has been carrying it for over 10 years, and if nobody tells you that he is a carrier or he is HIV patient, you won't know it. Why? Because he's following the SYZ. The person will think twice that it is true, this thing is not a death sentence. I don't know if you understand. So it's just to give hope to their hopelessness. And they see 1, 2, 3 people who are sharing the same thing with them. You get it? That will give them hope. And they won't see it as the end of life, or they won't see it as a case for them to commit suicide. So that is the point you are making. The veterans are there to give hope to the rookies. That is what they are doing. Because there is no life. There is no life the rookies want to enjoy again, as in, let us go and enjoy our life when we get to your age. They are already HIV patients. Except they want to infect other people too with the same virus. But the truth is, for them to continue to live their lives, that is the essence of that SHG we talk about, self-help groups. So that's where we have the rookies and we have the veterans. The veterans are there to just give hope to them that it is not the end of life. You can go about doing your daily work, provided you are taking your antiretroviral drugs. You can live, you can survive. That is the essence of that. I don't know if that is the question you are asking. Maybe I've answered the question you are trying to ask.
I'm okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, I'm hearing you. Please, it's not clear. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Can you put it on the question? What's it called now? Can you type it so everybody can see it?
Examination, is it going to be written or oral?
The examination is going to be CBT, multiple choice questions. It's going to be CBT.
I'm going to write it and submit it online.
You are not online. You submit online. Everything is online. I think you have been told this before now.
No, I've not heard it though.
Hello, sir.
I'm hearing you, sir.
I've not heard this.
Yes, sir. Please, the material you sent today.
Yes, sir.
We have been told
plus the 3 you sent before.
Yes, sir.
Is that all that we expect from you, sir?
That is all for this course, sir, by the grace of God.
Okay, sir. All right, sir.
Except you want something more. But I think the 32 pages I have here should be enough for me to give you wonderful questions.
No problem, sir.
Thank
you.
Madam, where are you? Need me? Madam, you nice. Where are you? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Okay, how are you?
I'm fine,
okay,
sir.
Madam Tokpe, are you saying? Okay, Madam Temi Tokpe?
Yes, sir.
I hope okay, we are good to go. By the special grace of God, we meet in your seminar presentation and finally in the exam. All the best. All the best. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you, and you too, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bless God.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice weekend.
And you too.
Thank you, sir.
Palliatives.
Dr. Adejumo, what did you say?
We are expecting our palliatives.
Palliative, don't worry. It is well.
Hey.
Wow.